Americans of Reddit, what is the worst big city in the USA and why? My city, Stockton, California. Finally got another serial killer captured a few weeks ago. Don't get me started on the speed freak killers. City has a real population of around 420k, 60k are homeless. The last 3 mayors have been arrested during or after their term. City council is a farce. PD, holy shit of shit shows. I will admit there are good officers, yet there's been 2 sergeants arrested for SA and rape in the past year. When I first moved here there was a bank robbery with hostages, police put 27 rounds in the hostage. Police chief admitted his guys needed more firing range time on an open mic. Every amusement or nice attraction gets shut down. Golfland gone, Incredible John's gone, and so on. We're considered the little Chicago, I believe our crime rate is on par with them. School district, holy shit what show. Every year we get a new superintendent that either gets fired or steps down. The district apparently is close to insolvency with the state getting ready to take over. I believe a few tens of millions in the hole. Yet most of their employees don't get benefits. Yeah, health insurance around $800 a month, that's mandatory. Have to say the fire department is awesome ASF, they put out a shit ton of fires. Update, just got a report of young lady that was stabbed to death down the street was the niece of my wife's CO worker. No one knew why she was in that area. It's still off, that's it's rough next to a Sikh temple, very nice people. Yet the apartments on their backside are extremely rough. Update 2, I still stand by the 60k homeless, I work with these people day in and out. Homeless dumping to Stockton from other cities has always been a thing. Also you don't have to be in a tent to be homeless. A lot of RVs and cars with people sleeping in them. Bakersfield or Fresno, pretty sure the devil has part-time vacation homes in both of them. Bakersfield. Bakersfield, California. Nothing but meth and strip malls. I passed Camden, New Jersey on a way to a concert, and we stopped at a light and a cop drove up and literally told us just run the reds and go, do not stop, and as we turned you would just see groups of PPL on corners waiting for a stopped car. It was wild. Edit, I appreciate all the replies, the horror stories I'm sure are true, the struggle of the people in rough situations in these cities is a huge component also. My husband spent summers there as he has family in the area, he saw it in all its facets including positive changes. My first experience, and only experience, was driving there to get to a concert with my friend 12 maybe 14 years ago, and it was unexpected even for this NYC native. Scrolled through and did not find my city, win. Edit, for those that asked, it's Chicago. Hey, I never said it's the best, I just did not find it mentioned as the worst. Stockton, Fresno, Bakersfield. East St. Louis, stopped once for gas. Didn't think I was going to make it back on 55. I haven't been to every city in the US. But Baltimore could use a little cleaning up since we're on the subject. I think every city has great parts. But worst parts of Baltimore is pretty, out there. Springfield. Jackson, Mississippi. Very high murder rate, low education, failing infrastructure. Edit, yes I know Jackson isn't a very big city. It just sticks out as being in bad shape. I hesitate to answer this because the worst cities in America aren't big cities. It's medium and small-sized cities that have been hit the hardest by economic changes. Places like Gary, in, Pontiac, MI, Bridgeport, CT, and Lowell, MA. Industrial cities that lost all their jobs and experienced depopulation and rising crime. But I don't know, maybe Hartford. There's just nothing there. It's insurance companies and street gangs. That's it. In my opinion, of the ones I've been to. Miami. Anywhere outside of the nightlife scene is absolutely dangerous. For example, Wynwood, the art district, is literally in the middle of one of the worst possible neighborhoods. You enter or exit Wynwood from the wrong direction, don't stop and wait at red lights. Edit, I learned the area I'm referring to is called Overtown, just outside of Wynwood. Also, no, I'm not a tourist, I'm a local. Miami. Hot year-round, traffic, sex trafficking amongst other crime, expensive, hurricanes, even residents complain, smells. What's a fun NSFW history fact? Operation Midnight Climax was an operation carried out by the CIA as a sub-project of Project MK Ultra, the mind control research program that began in the 1950s. Operation Midnight Climax started in 1954 and consisted of a web of CIA-run safe houses in San Francisco. It was established in order to study the effects of LSD on non-consenting individuals. Prostitutes on the CIA payroll were instructed to lure clients back to the safe houses, where they were surreptitiously plied with a wide range of substances, including LSD, and monitored behind one-way glass. The prostitutes were instructed in the use of post-coital questioning to investigate whether the victims could be convinced to involuntarily reveal secrets. The victims were sometimes fed subliminal messages in attempts to induce them to involuntary actions, including criminal activity such as robbery, assault, and assassination. Many of the CIA operatives involved in the experiments voluntarily indulged in the drugs and prostitutes for recreational purposes as well. Vikings were indeed banging up and down the British coastline like pop culture portrays them. But unlike pop culture imagery of them grabbing women out of their houses and carrying them off to rape, we have writings from the period of British men complaining about Vikings seducing British women using their unfair advantage of regular bathing and grooming. The last main-line descendant of the Medici family, Gian Gaston de' Medici, spent most of the last years of his reign laying in bed being entertained by a group of handsome young men rounded up from the streets of Florence, who performed various sexual acts in his bedroom for his entertainment. He spent so much time in his gay harem that people rumored he had died since he never appeared in public. Eventually he did show up in public to dismiss rumors of his death. He showed up so drunk he could barely speak, threw up twice, and then had to be physically carried back to his bedchamber. The guy's Wikipedia page is a trip. Canadian soldiers had the highest rates of STDs among Allied troops in both WWI and World War II. There's a sound archive of JFK having sex because the FBI thought the girl was a German spy and tried recording the conversation. Well, no conversation took place, but a lot of f***ing did. At Andrew Jackson's funeral, his pet parrot was removed because he would not stop cursing. Warren G. Harding wrote naughty love letters to his mistress in which he refers to his dick by the name Jerry. Soldiers in WW1 would deliberately have sex with STD-ridden prostitutes so they could claim medical leave and be discharged to get out of the war. Ancient Roman women would use the oil and sweat scraped from gladiators' skin as an aphrodisiac. Much conspiracy has been made about J.P. Morgan choosing not to sail on Titanic at the last minute. But the reality was it was his birthday week and he was having way too much fun with his French mistress. He skipped Titanic because the sex was too good and he wanted to stay. A quick extra fun fact: although Morgan died in 1913, the financial fallout from the Titanic disaster hit IMM so badly it was a massive factor in contributing to them seeking bankruptcy protection in 1915. This was astounding, coming from the company that had bailed out the entire US government in 1907. So, Morgan skipping Titanic got him screwed in more ways than one, smiley face. King Philip V of Spain, 1683 to 1746, and his court liked to play a game called El Impedo, the imperturbable. Basically, a bunch of men bottom naked were sitting around a table, which was covered by a cloth. A lady was under the table and sucked one of the men's cock. The rest of the players should guess who was being sucked. If their guess was correct, the other player had to leave the game. If it was wrong, he would leave. The game was won by the player who would come in the lady's mouth without the rest of the players noticing. End number X200b. Apparently the game was very popular among the French nobility in 18th century. Edit: I did not expect this to blow up, so I add some source in Spanish. Apparently, the butt plug was originally invented as a rectal dilator marketed as a cure for insanity and constipation. Pope Alexander VI liked watching horses fuck. King Charles II had a wig made out of the pubic hair of his mistresses. King George IV attempted to recreate one of his own but died before he could complete it. During the Cold War, spies from the CIA in the USSR used a false scrotum as gadget to hide something important in emergency situations, because if you get caught, then the chance of a thorough check of your scrotum, it seems to me, is very small. What is the first thing you think of when you think about the American South? My in-laws are Cajun swamp people. They own 20 acres of swamp and they all have a small hut they live in on the property. That's what I think about. We're foreigners who just did a big road trip through the South. Country music. There were like 20 radio stations just for country. Moonshine. Fried chicken, biscuits, barbecue. Churches everywhere. Even though I'm from NC, for some reason when I hear about the South I think of Georgia, lol. Next thing that comes to mind is fried chicken and sweet tea followed by Bojangles. This humid air. Can't stay dry for 5 minutes out here. Y'all. Waffle House. Bless your heart. As a non-American, I just thought of Spanish moss hanging from big gnarly trees on a warm humid afternoon. Sounds quite peaceful really. The look of resentment people give me when they learn I'm from Alabama. Cornbread. I live in the South and the first thing that comes to mind is pulled pork for some reason. Biscuits and gravy. Stereotypes. Usually the ones directed at me, a Southerner. Sweet tea.